Good morning, good morning. We're back. All I wear is black, so I figured it was appropriate. Good morning. How are we doing on this Friday? Let's get some cameras rolling here. Super pumped for our call today, guys. We got a great guest joining us here today. But as always, before we start diving in to Eric and unraveling all the nuggets and stuff with him, as always, let's start with our 3 wins for the week. Who has the first one to start us off, guys?
I have a win that I'm really excited about.
Talk to us.
All right, so I had a pretty difficult listing, and we are closing on it today.
Yes.
Very
It's always like
excited.
this big weight off of your shoulder, right? When you're dealing with these pain in the ass clients sometimes.
Yes, pain in the
Yes.
ass market and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
very
right? Like,
excited.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is good. I know my wife was walking in yesterday and they were had a deal that was supposed to close yesterday. And the guy lost his job. Like we're out of the finance contingency. The appraisal was already ordered. The guy's getting ready to go into foreclosure on the selling side because he has private money. It was just a terrible situation for everybody. And it's sad, right? Like we don't
It
ever
is.
want anybody to go through that. But I'm glad that did not happen to you. You got it through and you can let that shit go. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Well, love to have you on here, Danae. Who has our second win for the week? I'll wait.
I had a closing.
Who's this? It sounds like God. I can't see you.
That's James Brown.
James
Yeah,
Brown.
I had a closing. That's good. It's been slow.
That is good. What's your goal for this year, James?
Oh man. I'd like to get 20 of our rent to own deals done.
20.
And yep,
Okay.
that's my goal.
How many do you have in the pipeline right now?
0.
0. Have we closed any so far this year?
Actually, nope.
No, not
No,
yet.
none of those.
Okay.
We've been swinging and missing. I do have a couple of leads, but yeah, I don't know. Just keep my head down.
That's all we can do, right? It's building
Yep.
that pipeline, right? Because this market shifts and stuff, and so it's about continuing the plan that we built out and filling that pipeline every single day, right? It's that consistency and stuff, and then all of a sudden, right? 3 pop, 5 pop, all of these things start coming together at the same time. So stay the course, my brother. You add a lot of value to people. Stay that course.
Right on.
Yes. Who has our third win to round us out here for the week?
Coming in hot.
Talk to me, J Mac.
So I got a call last Friday, and I'll find out today. But I got a new listing, probably about 400,000 for the listing. But the way I got it was an attorney who's not a real estate attorney knew my background with REO
Mm-hmm.
and has a major domestic issue, like the wife turned it into a boarding house. There's like 13 people there. She ended up getting everybody out of there, and she was like, I need somebody to go and just change all the locks. I need somebody to do this, this, and this, and make sure it's secure. And I'm like, you called the right guy. And so she's getting the payoff today, and I'll hopefully have it listed tomorrow.
Nice. Get after it, J Mac. And man, your team is on fire up there, like with closings, like people joining. Like, congratulations, man. I see you. I see you over there. I was just looking at numbers and stuff yesterday. So congrats, man. You guys are doing a lot of good stuff over there.
Larry, it just got started, but there's so many people in the queue that are like right on the fence coming. It's maddening.
Nice. Very nice. Congrats, man. And Mr. Russell, what you got for us?
I just have a really quick share that's kind of motivational and pretty for the day. Can
Yeah.
I share? Okay, cool. So my win is I landed safely at John Wayne Airport last night. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
And Larry, that's the plane that you will be flying from Scottsdale to NADP in next week, I think, right?
Yeah, it's coming up quick. Yeah, I was, because Palm Springs is kind of hard to get to, right? And so I was like, oh, Jeff Kelly, if I fly into Orange County, can I drive with you? They're like, we're going to be in Scottsdale and then we're flying over there. And I was like, holy shit, that's even better. Can I just meet you guys in Scottsdale and then fly out with you guys? So I'm super pumped. One, I love Scottsdale, and then one, I just get to spend more time with Jeff and Kelly, which is always wonderful. Beautiful. Do you land at John Wayne a lot, Jeff?
Well,
Or
I'm based out of John Wayne, so I went up yesterday to just get current so that I can fly you safely.
oh yes, that is important for sure. Beautiful, guys. Well, that's awesome. Congrats on everybody, all the success, man. We have a lot of momentum and stuff going right now, guys. And again, it's a lot about the consistency and doing the right things every single day, right? Even when things get tough, even when things get in the way. And so I'm super excited. A lot of you guys may have already heard or seen our guest. I know he's been on Joseph Limo's mastermind call in the past. When I sent this out, he was on TED Talks, which is absolutely fire if you guys haven't seen it in the past. And that was kind of a pre-homework assignment. So hopefully some of you guys have had a chance to do that. But Eric, welcome to our call, man. How are you doing this morning?
Dude, happy Friday, everybody. Larry, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on your Friday mastermind. It's really cool.
Yeah, this is a fun group. This is I tell people all the time, this is my favorite call of the week. Just the collaboration, the sharing. It's just positive, like there's no BS and stuff like that. And we share a lot of value and stuff with people as well. And so I'm super excited, right? As we kind of planned out this call, that all of you guys here could leave this call with something that's going to be able to help you, right? That's my goal. And every time that I talk to somebody is that you leave with something that can add value to your life. And with this, Eric has kind of mastered is a hard word, right? But he's so much better than everybody else. And when you do things for long enough, you start to develop these trends, right? You start to see patterns in human behavior. Right. And so today we're going to talk about some of the mistakes that people make right before we get into that big breakthrough, when life starts kind of coming at you. James Brown, right? When man, like we've swung and we've missed a couple of times and is this the right thing? We have all these intrusive thoughts that start creeping in and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about 5 mistakes that a lot of people make right before they get to that next level, right? Right before they get to that big breakthrough. Start talking about creating some time, right? How do we instantly create some time freedom in your life? And we're going to talk about some of these patterns and habits of some of the most successful people that Eric has coached and trained along his journey and stuff here. So Eric, man, welcome so much. Why don't you start just by giving folks some background on yourself? Like, how did you end up in this space? Like, where did you come from? Talk to us, man.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. I appreciate it. So I live in Bend, Oregon. If you haven't been to Bend, come on up. We'd love to see you. Today I'm sitting in Michigan. Actually, Western Michigan. I'm hanging out with my grandkids. We got little dudes in the background there. So I'm working remotely today. And, I grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and was surrounded by
I'm assuming he was surrounded by snow because he was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, or cheese maybe, but is he frozen for everybody else as well? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was me. Okay.
So he was saying that he's surrounded by cheese because he grew up in Wisconsin. Let me shoot him a message. He may not even know he's frozen on his.
I'm on it, Larry.
Oh,
I got
okay.
it.
Well, that was anticlimactic, Eric. No, just joking.
Western Michigan is my stomping grounds.
Yeah, you were born there, right?
Yeah, I was born in Michigan, but I went to Western Michigan University.
Oh, okay. And then
Hey,
you
Larry.
realized there was places that had sunshine all year round, and you went out to Vegas and California
Yep.
and stuff there.
Got
Yes.
the heck out of Michigan. Not that anything's wrong with Michigan, just not my forte.
I cannot see Kelly Jones in cold weather. Doesn't seem right.
I mean, but here's the thing, like Ann Arbor and stuff, man, is gorgeous. Like in the summertime, like I think snowbirds have it pegged, right? Like, man, if you could spend like 4 or 5 months up there, like Minnesota, Michigan, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous
Oh
in the
yeah.
summertime, right? Like,
This, yeah, the summers, the fall, the leaves changing, like there is definitely some bittersweet, moments, but I do not miss that snow.
yeah. Joseph, any communication with Eric over there?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I'm imagining he's frantically figuring out how to get some internet and jump back on.
All right. Well, we'll sit through and go here. Just some housekeeping items while we're trying to figure out the technical difficulties and stuff like that. How many of you guys are going to NADP? Let's start with NADP. I see Robert Weichelt. I know Jeff and Kelly. Anybody else planning on heading out to NADP?
Barry Owens will be there from ADR.
Okay, Barry Owens will be there. How about one that I'm super excited about? Like I will enjoy NADP out in Palm Springs, but a lot of us are going to the Velocity event that's in Nashville. How many of you guys are heading to Nashville at the end of March? So I get Robert, Danae, I know Jeff, Kelly, Eric. Beautiful.
Speaking of Velocity, Jeff, what did you text me this morning from Bay? Is it buy one, get one on their tickets right now?
Yeah, so that just came out. So my gut feeling is attendance is probably a little bit light. So now it's a buy one, get one free. So if you're going and you bought your ticket, like, man, it might be a great time to invite a guest or something like that if you have an extra ticket.
If I could mention that buy one, get one thing, that is over today, is my understanding based on the email that I got.
Very good.
Also,
Okay.
Jeff's in my ear. We're on our way to a agent attraction coffee, actually. But anyways, he said, this is good that attendance is low. That's less agents, so that's more face time that you get in front of, asset managers and whatnot.
Yeah, and we're doing an event on Wednesday night with American Destiny, MCM Capital, Templeview, End-to-End Solutions. We'll probably invite a couple of others there as well. And then Eric Bengal and I on Friday at lunchtime, we're going to do a seizing REO opportunity. So if any of you guys are still there on Friday and haven't left, would love for you to come. I'm getting all of the Eventbrites and registrations and stuff lined up. So, all right, I see Eric signing back in right now. I saw him on for a second. Eric, how are you doing, sir?
I have no idea what happened. I was talking and you guys were all frozen, and obviously that was on my end, not yours. Is everybody there? Can you guys give me a wave? Are you still
So
frozen?
we're here. You left off and we were trying to finish your sentence for you. You said you grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and you were surrounded by, and I was like, snow, cheese. Like we were trying to guess what you were surrounded by. So that's where you left off, man.
Thank you guys for hanging out on that. I'm so sorry. I have no idea what just happened, but here we are. So I was surrounded by incredibly good people that were very hardworking. We're talking generations of farmers, machinists, people that had worked their tails off, and generations later, they were still working on their farms, building machinery, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there was just no actual expansion and movement. Although the world was moving, they were really not going anywhere. And I remember being a little kid and reading National Geographic and kind of looking at the world and going, wow, there's this amazing world out there. And there was really no example of how do you break out of a habitual cycle of waking up and farming the same field or building the same machinery or working in the same factory. And when I was 17 years old, I started reading books. I read Napoleon Hill, I read Zig Ziglar, I read Brian Tracy, I read Dan Millman, and it started to expand my mind what was possible. So what happened next, Larry, is I got a job when I was in college. I had to pay for my own college, and I sold books door to door. And I got to meet 3,000 families a summer. And some of these families were literally living in poverty in Appalachia with dirt floors. And some of them had literal, 7, 8 cars in the driveway that were hundreds of thousands of dollars each. And this was back in the early 90s. And I saw everything in between. And I started noticing that how much people love their kids, how many hours they work in the week, how they care about life. That doesn't really affect how they move. I saw some of the wealthiest, unhappiest people that you could ever imagine. And I saw some poor people that were just incredibly connected. And I saw some wealthy people that were just living the dream. And I saw some poor people that were just miserable. And I started to realize that there were some basic things that if we put in our brain, you can literally create the experience that you want to have. So let's talk about what a breakthrough is. All a breakthrough is it's taking, and you guys know this, I'm going to say a lot of things that you know today, and it'll just frame the conversation. It's taking the place you are in your life. And for me, I look at it as 4 major areas. It's your career, specifically the impact that you can have, the growth that you can have, and what you can get done. It's your relationships, and these relationships, this is interpersonal. This is your spouse. This is your kids. This is your neighbors. This is the people you work with every day. It's your clients. It's your physical health. How much energy and vitality do you have? And then it's your financial situation. How much money is in the bank, and what do you have the ability to create with financially? And anytime that you're in a place in any of those areas for a length of time, that becomes your comfort zone. And if you want to step out of that, if you want to go somewhere further in any of those areas, it literally, by definition, requires a breakthrough. It requires you breaking through how you're experiencing it, how you're seeing it and thinking about it and going on to the next level. So let's have some fun and let's make this interactive today, because if I just lecture for the next 40 minutes, you're actually not going to get that much out of it, no matter how awesome I am or how bad I suck. If I suck and you engage, you actually might get a lot out of this. I'm going to try not to suck, Larry.
All right.
If you are just kind of dozing off, doesn't matter how good I am. So turn your screens on, get the chat box open, get out a pen and paper and make this engaging. So for starters, write down in the chat, type out in the chat box, what's an area in your life that you'd like to break through? And if you know it more specifically than that, then type that in as well. While you're doing that, this is really important to understand is that I'm in the exact same process that you are. I haven't arrived. I'm not done breaking through. There's all of the things that I'm going to talk about today. These aren't theories that I learned over the last 30 years and that now I've arrived and I'm like, oh, good, sitting back. And this is exactly what I'm engaging in today. There's areas in my life where I'm breaking through, where I'm seeing my habits. I'm seeing where I'm stuck. And stuck doesn't mean bad, by the way. If you're stuck making $1 million a year, well, you're stuck making $1 million a year. What if you want to make $2 million a year? That requires a breakthrough. So this isn't about needing a breakthrough isn't inherently a negative thing. It's actually a positive thing. If you've been playing in the NFL for 7 seasons and you've never won the championship, if you want to win the championship, you need to break through. So wherever you're at, the mindset around breaking through is a really positive one. Now I want to watch, I haven't been on the chat here. 1,000 agents, that's good. Anybody else, anything that you could type in the chat, this is going to help me. It's also going to help you. And if you are in a place where you're not engaging in the chat, you got your brain going or you've got a pen and paper, that's going really well too. So we're going to talk today about 5 mistakes that people make when they're breaking through. When I cover these mistakes, some of them you're not mistaking on. You're already hitting this. You're on track with this, and that's a really good thing. If that's the case, what I want you to do is be thinking in your brain validation. You're like, okay, good, that's not my problem. It's highly unlikely that any of you are making all 5 of these mistakes at the same time. There's just that you wouldn't be on a call. You wouldn't be on a mastermind call with the kind of momentum and the kind of leadership you have and the kind of focus on growth if you were just jacking all of these up. So chances are part of what I'm going to say today is going to be validating. And then part of what I'm going to say is going to call out things that you're currently stuck on, or you just haven't been thinking about them in these terms. That's awesome. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot, Larry, and by the way, anybody interrupt me, ask questions over the mic, or throw something in the chat. I will definitely be talking, Kristen, about how to manage your time and focus when giving care duties for your mom. We're going to talk about that in broad spectrum for sure. If you've got a thought or a question, definitely let me know about it, because these 5 things, when they become a mantra and a pattern of thinking in your mind, it starts to immediately support you so that you can take and validate where you're at and then move forward. One of the things that I want you to just consider when you see something that you're not doing, or when you've identified an area that you actually are stuck in, this is really, really important. How many of you, by the show of hands, wave at me if you're on the camera, or just click the button. How many of you did watch the TED Talk that Larry sent out that I did a while back? Okay, a bunch of you did, a bunch of you didn't. I'm not going to repeat all of that information for the sake of you that watched it. But one of the things that I talked about is the importance of your energetic state, about how your state is the energy force that really drives so much of not only your focus, but your actions as well. As soon as you notice something that you're stuck in, this is really where the rubber meets the road, because there's one of 2 experiences that you can have. One of them, and this is very common, is for you to have some regret. You're like, oh shit, I haven't been doing that. Oh, I need to see that in a different light. And the other one that a lot of people have is guilt. You feel guilty because you've probably heard all of this stuff before. I would be shocked if the things that I share with you today, you've never heard before. Like, this is like brand new epiphanies. Life doesn't work that way. I mean, the good ideas are out there. You've been exposed to them. So me coming here today is not about like enlightening you in a way that you've never been enlightened. It's about keeping the conversation alive, and it's about refocusing. Regret is actually one of the most powerful experiences that you can have, because with regret comes the realization that there's a different way to do things. And it's actually a hopeful state, because you can now go, oh, I did it that way. I don't want to do it that way again. And now I'm clear that I'm not going to do it that way. So it's not about beating yourself up, and it's not about feeling like there's anything wrong with you. You regret the action, not the person that you are. Guilt is really, really toxic, because when you feel guilty, you're not only having a problem with what the experience is, but you're having a problem with the person that you are. I feel guilty for who I am and what I'm doing. And it's literally as low of a state of emotion as you can have. So when you bop across things today that you're like, oh yeah, that's really good. I'm not in that space. I'm not doing that. Good. Don't feel guilty about it. I've got a whole list of things that as I give this talk, I'm going through my mind, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the one that needs to hear that as well. And you can use that as a very, very powerful catalyst to how you do things differently in the future. So first thing, mistake that people make when they are stuck in a place for too long is they have time frames that are too short. If you're taking notes, just jot that down. Breakthroughs happen on longer scaled time frames. And I'm just going to tell it, you know this, but I'm going to validate this from an outsider's perspective. I'm not a realtor, by the way. I've spoken at the National Association of Realtors annual conference twice. The first time that I worked with a group of realtors was, I think, 27 years ago. So I know your profession really well. I know the ups and downs. I know how cycles play. You all know this, but I'm just going to tell it to you right now. Well, I'll ask it as a question, and this is not rhetorical. How many of you think that you're going to have more listings, more buyers, and that this is going to be one of the hottest years that you've had in your real estate career? Can I see a show of hands? Okay. That is possible. For most of you that raise your hands and you think you're going to do more transactions this year, you think you're going to have more listings, you're going to have more closings, you're going to like set record-breaking numbers. I'm sorry to break it to you, but like 80 or 90% of you on this call will not this year. And if you're like, well, who the fuck is this guy? And why is he coming to our real estate call saying that we're not going to have such a great year? You are in a down cycle. You've got less buyers. You've got crappy interest rates. You have a lot of adversity facing what you're doing in the calendar year 2024. That doesn't mean that some of you won't break through. That doesn't mean that some of you won't do more transactions and have higher commissions. But here's the deal, and here's the deal with all of you. How many of you are in real estate for the next like 1 to 3 years, and then you're planning on getting out and doing something else? Okay, a bunch of you are. That's great. Most of you have probably been in real estate for more than 2, 3, 4 years, and you probably have a runway of another decade. Okay, what you do in 2024, how you think, the actions that you take can create millions and millions of dollars over the next decade. If you're thinking, I need to get done everything that I need to get done in the next 9 to 12 months, if your time frame is what's really valuable, is what I get done now, you're setting yourself up for frustration and disappointment, because market trends absolutely happen. Going back to my roots in a farming analogy, there are seasons where you are planting and where you're taking care of the soil and where you're taking care of your equipment. And there are seasons where you harvest. And in real estate, you are in a planting and you are in a preparing your equipment phase. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is really, really important. What you do in 2024 will have a radical impact on the income that you make over the next 5 to 10 years. And some of you may have the best year of your careers. You might smoke what you did in 2019, 2021. And if that's the case, awesome, God bless you. Either you are new to real estate, or you're in some sort of a zone, or you found a great vein of gold or a resource. That's awesome. That will not happen for the majority of people who have been in real estate for more than 5 or 10 years in 2024. But that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean it's a bad year. It doesn't mean that you should be depressed. It actually is the opposite. What this year will do is this year will thin the herd. You're going to have a lot of people dropping out of listing and buying homes. You're going to have a lot of people dropping out of selling. And the more correct actions that you're taking in 2024, the more your harvest is going to yield incredible things for the next many years. I work with a group of realtors in Bend, Oregon, that this one office has a 60% market share. One office, 60% market share. In 2009, they called me at the beginning of the year. For those of you that remember 2009, there wasn't a lot going on in real estate. It was a really, really hard market. The country was having a lot of troubles. And these guys called me up and they said, hey, we want to hire you for an entire year to completely retool what we're doing with our business, how we're acting. And I said, guys, this is a really weird request. None of my clients are calling me right now saying, hey, I want to sign a year-long contract with you. I mean, the world had kind of gone flat. I said, talk to me about this. And they're like, it's really simple. We are not in a harvesting phase right now. We have a lot of time on our hands. And the more that we prepare ourselves now, the better we are going to be served for the next decade. And they not only weathered the 2009, 10, 11 storm well, but when 2012, things started to turn, 14, 16, 18, they are crushing. People that were making 100 to 200 grand a year are now making $1 million a year. People that were making $500,000 a year are now making 1.5. So you have the ability to do amazing things. If your time frames are short, chances are you are going to overestimate what you can get done in them. Almost everybody, myself included, overestimates what they can get done in a year, and they underestimate what they can get done in a decade. Think through that a little bit. What's going to be more profound for your life, for your career, for your family? What you get done in this next year or what you get done in the next decade? Think bigger in the long term and not necessarily smaller, just more conservative and realistic and more tactical on the short term and more strategic on the long term, and really amazing things can happen. Any questions, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to keep rolling because of my 7-minute delay getting kicked off your call earlier. Number 2, most people in life set unsupportive goals. The goals that they have are actually unsupportive, and they don't even know it. And the reason why they are unsupportive, you guys are all familiar with the telephone game, that you play this as a kid and somebody tells you something and then you tell the next person and then they tell the next person. And then 8, 10 people later, you ask the person what was actually said and it's totally different than where it started. I'm not going to give you an hour-long lecture on goal setting theory, but if we were ever hanging out, it would be really fun to talk about. The way that people think about and talk about goals in life in America today is largely unnatural. You don't need goal setting theory in order to do it correctly. You did it correctly as a child with no training. When somebody asked you when you were 7 years old, what do you want to be when you grow up? You had an answer. You didn't have to go to a goal setting class. You were thinking, I want to be a doctor. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a carpenter, a lumberjack, or a nurse, or a teacher. It's natural and it's ingrained in you to be dreaming about what it is that you want to experience 10, 20 years later. It's natural as you got into high school to be thinking about what are my more short-term goals? What sports team do I want to make? What kind of grades do I want to get for the year? What play do I want to, what's the part in the play that I want to get? What do I want to be in the band? You are naturally setting goals, and then life teaches us how to keep tasks in front of us. You got to do your dishes. You have to do your homework, do your laundry, make your bed. All of your goals fall, and if you listen to the TED Talk, I talked about this, your intentions fall in the aspect of dreams, which are 5 to 50 to 100 years out. They're out there, they're really, really important and powerful, but they're not specific, they're not measurable, they don't have a time frame attached to them. You have your goals, which are anywhere from 90 days to 4 or 5 years out, and then you've got your tasks. All of these things share the same thing in common. They're a picture that you have in your mind of something that you haven't experienced or done that you want to experience or do. So whoever came up with SMART goals did a really good job at them. The problem with it, and have you guys all heard of SMART goals? Your goals need to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. Good.
Yep.
That was a goal-setting theory that was created in 1982 for sales organizations. It was created for the sales leader to be able to organize groups of 50 to 500 salespeople as a leadership technique. Good. I think that they're very valuable in that setting. As soon as you start setting SMART goals for your income, for your physical shape, certainly for your relationships, take this home to your spouse someday and say, well, honey, I want to set some realistic goals for us to achieve. And I want us to be, experiencing this in the next 9 months and do this and this. It's absolutely toxic. And here's what it really does that's unfortunate. As soon as you start to visualize your potential in terms of a time period, you are massively limiting what you can do with yourself. Set a goal to make whatever it is, 100 grand, 200 grand in a year. You're obviously going to make goals that are a lot higher than that, whatever it is. As soon as you want it to be specific and realistic and time bound, you are programming your mind not to double that this year. Why would you want to do that? You want to make $1 million? Good. Don't put a time frame on it. Put it on a thermometer and challenge yourself to see how fast you can do it. Race after yourself instead of putting a time constraint on it. The other problem, as soon as you put that time constraint on it, you get that big, hairy, audacious goal. You've never made $1 million in a year, and this is the year you're going to do it. Halfway through the year, you're going to look at how much progress you've made, If you're not 50% there or more, now your goal has become demotivating because you don't actually think you're going to believe it. So you scrap so much of the momentum that you could have created. Set a big, amazing goal. Set something that's higher and farther and stronger than you've ever done before, and then just chase after it. Who freaking cares when it happens? So I did. I had the really cool experience of climbing Mount Everest a bunch of years ago. And when I first saw that goal, I swear to God, I thought it was impossible. I was like, there's no way. There's a lot of things that were prohibiting me from doing that. And then I was like, well, let's just see what we can do. And I climbed some mountains and I was successful. And I climbed some other mountains and I got a little bit higher and I got a little bit higher. How many of you care how long it took me to climb Mount Everest? You don't care at all. I don't care either. Okay. If I said it took me 3 years on that project, you'd go, oh, okay, cool. You did it. If I said it took me 23 years, you'd be like, oh, okay, cool. You did it. In that case, it took me 9 years. And it was a really, really big endeavor. And if it would have took me 11, who cares? If it would have took me 7, who cares? The things that you really care about that are your goals, it does not matter how long it takes you to accomplish them. What matters is, do you get there? It took me 20 years to create the marriage of my dreams. I had a lot of relationships. I was engaged twice and both of them blew up. Then I got married and then I got divorced and that sucked. That was super, super, super hard. And then the problem was never the woman on the other end of it. They're all great, smart women, not perfect women. I'm not perfect either. Okay. So it's a tie as to whose problem it is. But until I saw it and until I understood who I needed to be and who I wanted to be attracted to and connected with, that just didn't happen. And if I hadn't changed some patterns, it never would have happened. This is true in your physical body. It's very true in your financial life. I've got a really good friend of mine that his goal is to have a net worth of $100 million. He wants $100 million of wealth. That's a pretty rad goal. He doesn't care how long it takes. It's a life goal. And for him, it might take place this decade. You know, he's really making some great progress on it. And it might take 15 years. It might take 20 more years. He doesn't care. The more that you hold on to your goals tightly, like I have to have this happen in the next little bit, the more you squeeze the life out of them and they become demotivating. Let that all go. The last thing I'll say about unsupportive goals is that a toxic problem that if I analyzed your lives, if I analyzed mine, this just creeps up. It happens all the time. Is having your tasks, what you need to do today, tomorrow, and by the end of the week, so big in your scope of vision that it eclipses your dreams and it eclipses the things that you really care about. Tasks, by definition, suck energy. They burn calories, and there's nothing wrong with that. When you do a workout, at the end of the workout, you're tired. You're more tired than when you started. If you do a second workout in the day, you're gonna be really tired and you're gonna be sore the next day. Great, no problem. You have to work out. You have to do these things. But if you did 4 workouts, 5 workouts, 7 workouts in a day without resting, without recouping energy, without feeding, you get exhausted and injured. The same goes with your tasks. If all you're thinking about, focusing on, acting towards are the tasks, you go to bed at night. I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. With all of the tasks that you didn't get done on the top of your mind, without dreaming, without seeing the scope behind that, your dreams never deplete energy. They insert energy. Your tasks always drain energy. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You need to do your tasks, but have balance in where your focus is to recoup your energy. Number 3, this is a big one. I'm not going to talk about it very long. I'm just going to hit it. When you are stuck and when you're not breaking through to the next level, it boils down to energy. A mistake that people make over and over and over again, especially when they're really focused on their career, they're really focused on their relationships, they're really focused on putting more money in their bank, is they do not take basic care of their body. Almost the first thing to get messed up in people's focus is getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, eating nutritious foods, walk that body, and give it some stretching. 4 things. I'm not talking about doing the Ironman. I'm not talking about getting your body mass down to 9% and bulking up. I'm not talking about like any of the amazing things that you can do with your body. I've done all of those things before. When you're getting enough sleep, when you're hydrating, when you're eating nutritious foods, and when you're at least walking and stretching on a daily basis, and I'm not saying don't have a regiment of weight training and or cardio and or the other things that you want to do. But what most people do is they focus on their career or on other parts of their life. They wake up one morning, they're a bit overweight, their body mass has gone down, they're not as strong as they used to be. They're now in their 40s or 50s or however old they are, and they're like, shit, I gotta like get back in shape. So the first thing they do is they get their P90X out, which is a fabulous program, but that's not where you start. They go and they're like, okay, I'm joining this gym. I'm going to get out there 9 days a week. It's not where to start. Start with sleeping, drinking water, getting some nutrition, and walking your body. You start then from a platform of wellness, not of deficiency. Why do you think most exercise regimens are quit within 3 to 4 weeks? It's because they break people. They don't have enough of a platform. Don't worry about losing the weight. Don't worry about all of that stuff. Give your body more energy, and then you can go out and do the Ironman or do whatever it is that you want to do. Number 4 is when you're looking to break through, a mistake that people make is they do not get comfortable being uncomfortable. For the last 100 years, humanity's primary objective has been to create comfort. We are creating surroundings in our houses, in our healthcare, in our surroundings to make us comfortable. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate that with our children and grandchildren, I'm not really worried about anybody getting eaten. I'm not worried about somebody getting a base illness and not having medical care to take care of it. I'm not walking 5 miles as almost all of my ancestors did. 90% of our ancestors, if not more, it's probably like 98% of our ancestors walked miles a day to get water. Okay, we don't have to do any of that stuff. But if you think that means you don't have to get uncomfortable, you're sorely, sorely mistaken. If any of your goal is to be comfortable and to stop with the expansion of what you're able to endure, you might as well quit right now. Look around, and this isn't for you. This is for the general world. So I'm just going to get you to nod your heads. The people that I'm talking about are not on this call. Being broke and unemployed is very uncomfortable. Being in a very difficult marriage is super uncomfortable. Being out of shape is uncomfortable. Your option is not, do I get to choose whether I'm comfortable or not? You're going to be uncomfortable. The question is, do you get to choose how you're uncomfortable? Do y'all get that? Give me a big nod. Give me a high five in the Zoom if y'all get that. Okay. How many of you are not uncomfortable in any area of your life? I mean, come on. Like, I know rad, unbelievably successful people that are like, yeah, I'm super uncomfortable with lots of things. So I love that we're living in this golden era of humanity where when we wake up, we get to choose where we get to be uncomfortable. You get to choose it physically. You get to choose it mentally. You get to choose it emotionally. So I've got lots and lots of tips for this. I could probably spend half an hour on it. I'll give you a couple of my favorites right now. Being emotionally uncomfortable is really, really profound. And the way that the internet and the algorithms are set up, and I'm not going to rant on this for too long, they're geared to not make you uncomfortable. Look at your social feeds, your YouTube, whatever it is. It's giving you things that you like and that you agree with habitually. Okay. You want to get uncomfortable? Sit down with somebody that has a different opinion of you, different politically, different religious wise, different how to live their life. Ask them about their opinions and just listen. Just take it all in. Let them rant or talk about why the person that you despise politically, and that's not hard to find these days. It doesn't matter what side you're on. There's some really good, we don't dig that. And just let them explain it. One of the most profound things that a great thinker told me about 2.5, 3 years ago, and I'm really putting this on a mantra. We all learned this in high school. If you can't clearly and eloquently debate both sides of an argument, then you're not really qualified to have an opinion on it. So take the things that you care about politically, economically, spiritually, family-wise, and be able to hold and understand both sides of the argument. Really, really important. That will help you to get comfortable being uncomfortable emotionally. And then you just, all over the TV, cold baths are really, really profound. And they're also good for you physically. So yeah, it's super uncomfortable. Do I like getting in 39-degree water? No, never. I do it every single day. And then it increases my dopamine, which is good for the next 8 hours. Do I like eating some of the foods that I eat? No, I don't like it at all. And then that's good because they're nutritious and they feed me. And then I feel great later. The things as humans that you don't like, when you do a workout, it hurts. And then you're sore the next day. I don't like that. But then you're strong for days and days and days. So this is really, really, really a big deal. Last one. Fifth thing that is a mistake that is habitual when people are not breaking through is they do not take 100% responsibility for solving the problem that they're in. You need to take 100% responsibility for the way out of the challenge that you're in. And the objection to this is always with people, yeah, but I didn't create the problem. It's not my fault that the real estate market is what it is. It's not my fault that interest rates are so high. It's not my fault that my spouse is having an affair. It's not my fault that I have this disease, that I got the cancer. It's not my fault that you're right. You're right in 100% of whatever you're going to say. It's not my fault. I'm not debating you on that. It isn't your fault. And then it's your responsibility to get out of it, to fix it. If you know anything about my history, this is one of the spicy ones. I went on a bike ride in the summer of 2010. And when I came home, I had 9 federal agents with guns swarming my house for tax evasion. And I had an attorney and a CPA that had set up my structure. And long, gory story later, I was part of a 4-year colonoscopy with the Department of Justice and the IRS. 4 years. None of that was my fault. I didn't set up the system. I'm following legal advice. I'm doing all of this. It wasn't my fault, but it was absolutely my responsibility to deal with it, get out of it, and then move forward. And I really did have good mentorship at that time that says, dude, life's not always fair. And it's mostly unfair in our favors. And then sometimes it's not fair, not in our favor. And then in those times is really a catalyst between what happens and how you do. I ended up spending almost a year in federal prison. And then after that, everything amplified. It was one of the best years of my life. My income went up, my connection went up, my physical health went up. It was a catalyst to amazing things. And that year, which was a little bit more dramatic than the real estate market dipping, which you guys are experiencing, no, I didn't make a lot of money that year. I was away from my kids, which super sucked. I didn't get to grow the company that I had just done a serious round of investing on. There's a lot of things that I didn't get to do in that year, but I set myself up for the next decade. So take 100% responsibility, not for getting in the situation, but for getting out of it while I was in prison, because I negotiated a deal. The people that were also getting attacked for setting up this structure were exonerated at the district Supreme Court. So it was actually revealed that what I did was 100% legal. And I'm sitting in prison while what I did was proven legal at the district Supreme Court. Good. What am I going to do with that information? Be a victim? Blame other people for jacking up my life? No. Figure out how to frame it in a way that it propels you forward. Questions, comments, how are we doing? Are we winning or losing on this Friday morning?
And I think those are some huge key points and stuff there, man. Yeah, from the comments and people's faces as you're going through, I think we're getting a lot out of it. Just a heads up on time, we have about 8 minutes left till the top of the hour. So just a heads up on your side.
I'm totally with you on that. So I'm going to close the meeting now, and then I'm going to keep going for people to drop off. There's 2 more things, and I don't want to leave these, but I'm going to put something in the chat that I hope you guys appreciate. And if you have any questions or things you want me to unpack while we're here together, throw them in the chat. For anyone, this is the start of a conversation, not the end. I don't know about you guys, but I've been to a lot of these meetings where people spend about 15% of the time talking about some material, and they think that they have then 30 minutes to sell you on their stuff. And I don't believe in that. And I actually don't have anything to sell you today, and I don't have anything to sell you on what I'm going to talk about next. So don't even worry about that. I put in the chat for any of you that would like to talk with me one-on-one and do a strategy call on how you can create a breakthrough in anything. Let's do it. Here's the reason why I do this. I think that Zoom is great. I think that one on however many people are on this call, 1 on 43 is great. But it gets really powerful for both of us if it's one-on-one. And if you schedule a strategy call with me, I will not be selling you anything. I won't be talking to you about anything that we do here in my world. You probably heard that I'm a keynote speaker, that I do coaching, that I lead the Abundant Living Retreat, that I'm building other companies. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about you, and we're talking about your life, and we're talking about your goals. So click on that link if that's interesting to you. And don't click on it because you want to chat with me. You've got to fill out a strategy call form. There's some work. Click on it if you want to get some work done with me. And we'll take 30 to 60 minutes and we'll dive into you and your life. Larry, did I miss anything on that? I think that was clear, but is that clear on your end?
Yeah, man, it works. If you guys have gotten value out of, the 40 minutes that we've had with Eric, I want to encourage you to kind of dig deeper, right? Because this is where we get that growth opportunity when somebody pushes us a little bit, breaks us outside of that comfort zone. And the more that we do that, the more growth that we get as well. So yes, I think you nailed it and hit the nail on the head.
And gentlemen, if I may, I'm going to be super short, but I'm going to keep it sweet and simple. If anyone is serious about a breakthrough, like if you're really serious, book the call with Eric. You're kidding yourself if this isn't going to help you in one little facet, or maybe like everything for you to finally hit that goal. So if you're serious about a breakthrough, click the link. Like I'm no jokes here. He's helped me break through in so many areas of my life.
And it helps me, this conversation, me sharing this today. Trust me, people are like, why do you do this? I will be better for the rest of next week because I did this call with you. You have to keep this time frame. This is like a workout. It's like, what do you want to do? Work out by yourself or work out with other people? I'm doing the same thing while we're doing this together. Show of hands, high five the screen, put a thumbs up. How many of you have ever had the thought, there's not enough hours in the day, I don't have enough time, it's just about everybody. We have chronic anxiety in the world around time. And here's fundamentally why. There's another lie that's hanging out there. And don't believe me on this one. You got to think about this, internalize it, and see if it actually rings true for you. I'm not preaching it here. I'm simply giving you something that when I got this, it changed everything around time. Most people believe that time is their most valuable commodity. They'll tell you this, it's on posters. You know, if I waste a day, I'll never get that day back. It's this precious thing that's limited. Okay, false. Time is the only commodity that if you completely waste it today, you wake up and it's been given back to you. Think about this. You have $1,000 and you gamble it away today, you burn it, you mismanage it. Do you wake up tomorrow morning with your $1,000 back? No. You injure yourself health-wise one way or another. Do you wake up tomorrow morning and it's just naturally healed? It doesn't work that way. You damage a relationship. You say something today that is contrary, that hurts you. Do this with your clients. Mess up a client today, wake up tomorrow and see if they're just back, ready to do business with you. It's not the way that it works. You waste today, sit on the couch, eat Cheetos all day long. Guess what happens? Tomorrow morning, you've got your time back. It is the only fully renewable resource that you have. And then people always go, well, but Eric, I'm gonna die one day. Like, we have a limited amount of time on this planet. Okay, good, let's plan for that. When exactly are you going to die? Because we need to understand that so that we can plan around it. And I know that that's ridiculous. Here's the thing with time. It's not about time management at all. You can't manage or plan around your time. It's not going to stop, start, speed up, slow down. In fact, it's the opposite. When you get in that flow state, when you're really tapping into your creativity, your presence, your connection with other people, your connection with the physical environment, what happens is quite the opposite. Time disappears. That flow state is often described as it was timeless. It was like time stood still. I lost track of the time. That's when your genius comes out. Your genius will never be in flow state when you're generating anxiety that you don't have enough time. If you're ever in a situation where 5 or 10 minutes can feel like hours, or days can even pass, and it went by in a second, that's the kind of experience that you're looking for. Your ability to be focused on what you care about, what you can absolutely manage is your priorities, and you can manage your focus. So none of us are getting our to-do list done today. We've got 1,000 things. Who doesn't have 1,000 things that they could do today that you're not getting done? If your bed hits the pillow tonight and you're thinking about all the things you didn't get done today and all the things that you need to get done tomorrow, you're generating anxiety and you're literally pumping cortisol through your body, which is making you dumber. It's slowing down your reflexes, and it's harming you chemically. Cortisol is wonderful in very, very short doses, very infrequently. So I'm not saying that anxiety is wrong, man. If you get ambushed by a tiger, that anxiety will actually make you think quicker and be smarter for a short period of time. But if you're chronically on anxiety, it's not going to help. When you go to bed tonight, think about 2 things. Number 1 is think about all the things you got done today. What did you do today? Form the habit of giving yourself positive focus, validating what you did. That will help you keep your priorities in front of you. Think about how grateful you are for all that's going on. When you wake up tomorrow morning, it's a whole new gift. You didn't earn it. You didn't work for it. You just were given this day. And it's a really, really big deal. You feel that way, and what happens is you will clarify your focus and you will get closer to your priorities, not farther away. If you have the tape inside of your head that, well, Eric, if I did that, I would just be like putting frosting on a turd and I would just sit there and not do anything. It's absolutely opposite of that. The more gratitude that you have for all of the resources at hand, the clearer your focus is. The clearer your focus is, your priorities get clearer, and amazing, amazing, amazing momentum is created. Larry, thanks for having me today. I've really enjoyed it. Sorry that I got disconnected. I did miss one of my points today because we ran out of time, but I hope that what we actually did get done today was valuable to y'all. It's really nice to see you.
Absolutely, man. It was absolutely an amazing call. I mean, the 5 points to that you started off with, and I really hope that you guys take advantage of setting up a one-on-one call with Eric, because again, it helps him grow. It's going to help you guys grow as well. And that's why we do these, is so that we can add value to each other. As we're wrapping up here, anybody have any final questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that for Eric? Beautiful. I put your social media profile and stuff in the link there. I would encourage you guys, again, if this topic adds value to you, serves you, right? If you're interested in some of the other retreats and stuff that Eric does, like take advantage of it, right? Like this is the time for us to grow. And yeah, he's spot on with what's happening in the market. Like some of us will have our best years ever, right? But now is the time to plant and set up for this next cycle of real estate. This is where we plant the crops so that we can come in and have the biggest harvest that we've ever had before, guys. So hopefully this gave you guys a lot of content, things to think about. Eric, thank you so much, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, go out there and kick ass this week, and we will be back here next Friday with our regional director of growth, Russ Lagan, which I'm super pumped about. So make sure you're back here next Friday, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Larry, I look forward to hanging out with you. Want to spend more time with you for sure. Let's do it.
Absolutely, brother. I'll talk to you shortly.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.